can move. He was agile. He can make guys miss. I mean, he had it all. He had everything in the game.
In Cardinals franchise history, only Larry Fitzgerald has more all-purpose yards.
He did it all, man.
Hello, everyone. I want to welcome the world, our Browns fans, to the Stump Talk Podcast, RBU, Running Back University. Today is November the 18th. Tuesday is our favorite day of the week, besides football Sunday. We have the great Stump Mitchell, the Whisperer. We have our guest tonight, Brett Bowe from the Hula Bowl. Brett, I got to say right away, we take pride on, we are the best looking podcast in the United States. And you fit right in. You're not a bad-looking guy. How are you doing?
Hey, Ro, it's an honor to be here. I got my ankles taped. I'm stretched. Put me in the game, Coach.
Nice to have you, Brett. We appreciate you being on.
Coach Mitchell, it's an honor
Brett,
to be on the show.
Before we get started, I just want to make an announcement for the T County Browns backers. Thanks to our guy, Russ, the Oracle, who started this whole thing with the High School Hall of Fame, which we're looking forward to. The mayor of Brook Park, Mayor Ed Orcutt, will be joining us at Shenanigans. Obviously, Brook Park is going to be the site and the birthplace of the new Browns Stadium. Again, I want to thank our guy Russ for that. Russ, we're not going to skip around that. So November 23rd, this Sunday, come watch the Browns. Shedeur Sanders will be starting, playing against the Raiders at 4 p.m. So, Brett, right away I want to jump in, and I'm really anxious about tonight because Coach Stump, given your football lineage, tell us about the Hula Bowl. Tell us the location, where it's at. What does it entail?
Well, the Hula Bowl was a college football all-star game. HulaBowl.com, HulaBowl.com. This year, we'll be celebrating the 80th anniversary of the playing of the Hula Bowl. Last year, Deion Sanders and Doug Flutie both went into the Hula Bowl Hall of Fame Thursday night in person. And last year, I was brought on board as a consultant for the ownership family. The Logan family is an absolute special family. Our pillars are faith, family, finance, fitness, and football. And so your audience can understand, the NFL had to pull out of the Pro Bowl Stadium in Oahu, Honolulu. That stadium got condemned. And so at the same time that the NFL moved their game to Orlando, our Hula Bowl owner moved the college football all-star game to Orlando, where it was played many years. Last year, my first year, I got to witness everything in action. I was brought on board as Director of Special Projects and Official Scout, helping build out corporate sponsorships, creative fundraising, game day experience, building out speaking programs with former athletes all over America, not just Hula Bowl week. The Aloha spirit breeze in all 50 states. And last year, I witnessed over 100 players, 400 NFL scouts coming in to watch the action, watching them in person, practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the interviews. The team hotel was a feeding frenzy of interviews. I was wondering, why the heck are so many scouts going to come? Then I witnessed it. They needed to interview the players. Maybe the Cleveland Browns didn't want to interview all 100 plus players, but they definitely had a list of 50 to 60 senior all-star college football players that would have been somewhere on their draft board or definitely signed as an undrafted free agent so they could be in camp that following year.
Coach Stump.
Yes, I think it's a marvelous opportunity for the young men that will have an opportunity to go there and play in the bowl games. Some of the guys that will not be there are the guys that are still in competition for the national championship. But it's an opportunity for those seniors to get a look at, to share the spotlight with some guys that not as high profile as those may be. Although you will still have some high profile guys there, guys that are not out of the world, out of the college championship.
That's right. Hey, Coach Mitchell, you nailed it. That one of the beautiful things of going first, the East-West Shrine and the Senior Bowl are class acts. Our owner made the decision of going 2 weeks ahead of those two bowl games. He invites those executive leaderships and owners to come to the Hula Bowl because usually there's a couple players that also 2 weeks later will play in those games. But the Hula Bowl, they'll be celebrating our 80th anniversary this year. I'm excited to announce that we are moving the game to Volusia County, Florida. The team hotel will be right on the ocean, the beautiful Hilton Ocean Beach Resort in Daytona Beach. And we will travel the buses out each morning to beautiful DeLand. Stetson University has 2 beautiful practice fields. It looks like a country club. The NFL wants 2 practices side by side at the same time so they can witness all the action in person. And then our game, we are super excited to move the game to a beautiful stadium, Spec Martin Stadium. The movie Waterboy was filmed there. I believe by faith we'll be able to pack that thing. The energy is so great. I just spoke to the downtown Rotary tonight from DeLand, and the word is getting out that the Hula Bowl is coming to Volusia County. We're calling it Waikiki East, and the local people love that. When we're bringing the Hula Bowl action to Waikiki East, January 5th through the game January 10th, and I am so excited to be one key teammate to help bring the Hula Bowl to Volusia County.
Coach Stump, I want to ask you as a talent evaluator, you talk about guys that you've seen over the years, and you are very astute in evaluating talent. And one of your famous quotes is "Believe what your eyes see," and I've been running with that. So, Coach, if you go to a game like this with seniors, could you tell us the value from a coaching and NFL evaluator standpoint? What would be the value of getting a kid who's a senior, who's seasoned, who's played 3 to 4 years of college?
Well, if it's a wide receiver, you want to see the guy's ability to run routes, so his ability to catch the ball, his ability to track the ball. With running backs, for the most part, you're not going to really get an opportunity to see anything until the games actually take place, because you want to see their ability to make people miss in space. You want to see their ability to catch the ball. If he can be a 3-down guy or just first and second down, you want to see their ability to pass block. Regardless of the position that it is, you want to see things that they do naturally. A quarterback, for instance, you want to see if he's getting rid of the ball on time. That's important, because when you take a look at the offensive lineman in football, period, there's not enough on any team squad, regardless if it's high school, Pop Warner, college, or the National Football League. Your star offensive linemen go down, for the most part, you're in trouble. And everybody's looking for the size and speed, but you get a chance to show what you can do on the bigger stage.
And it was amazing, bro.
Brett,
And Coach Mitchell, last year, my first year, that the same template will be there. And we are so excited to announce our 2 head coaches this year. John Gruden said yes. And we said, Coach, who do you want to go against? And he goes, that's easy. I'm going to pound this guy. He won't be able to sleep at night. I want to go against my brother, Jay Gruden. So this year, our coaches, John Gruden versus Jay Gruden. And when we were prepping for our ownership, we went over and we did a little golf and we did the initial meetings. And they said, hey, guys, it's real simple. Hey, we're not coming to go to Disneyland or go to Universal. We are coming for football. We want to prep these guys up. We want to show them off in front of the NFL scouts in person. And this is a work trip. It's actually the interview of their lives for these invited players. We can't invite everybody, but those key people that accept an invite to play in the Hula Bowl get the amazing opportunity to get coached up by 2 world-class coaches, and their coaching staff is off the charts good, show off in front of the NFL scouts, and then interview well that week of Hula Bowl week. But Coach Mitchell, you nailed it, because we're seniors only. Some of the other bowl games will have the guys who come out as a junior. The only reason they're coming out is because everybody says they're going to go in the first round or a second round. And especially now, the ever-changing landscape of college football. And Coach Mitchell, you didn't have the NIL back in the day, because maybe you would have got recruited away from Citadel to go to Auburn or Alabama. The money is off the charts for these players. But as a seniors only, a lot of the guys, Chip trained them and went to Arizona State and Ohio State and West Virginia. Now he's finishing up at Toledo. that there are so many trackable athletes that we have to track as our world-class staff. We're just starting to get invites out now, but there's going to be a world-class lineup of all-stars for Coach John Gruden and Jay Gruden to coach up during the Hula Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be outstanding. Not only that, it gives these guys another opportunity to probably get invited to the combine if they weren't already getting invited, if they put some good stuff on tape. And to be coached by John and Jay, I mean, that's just fantastic. You're talking about old school coaches that's demanding and going to get the best practices they can get out of those guys. But more importantly, those guys are going to get the knowledge that they need to be successful at the next level.
That's right. And one of the things that our owner has done that I think is so refreshing, remember, this is my second year, and I'm just one teammate. We have a world-class team that our ownership family, the Logans, have put together. But historically, they've gone deep. They've gone to the beautiful historically black colleges, and they get athletes in there. They have that pathway to the pros. We've gone Division II. We have a good pulse on relationships with the NFL scouts. Why wouldn't we ask a good question? Hey, who do you guys want to see in the game, right? We're not going to share who the Chicago Bears want with the Dallas Cowboys or the Green Bay Packers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we have developed great relationships through the years. And we're getting wore out by the agents because every agent wants their guy in the Hula Bowl or an all-star game. So the pecking order is pretty tight. We're only going to have 3 quarterbacks for each coach. They want them to get the reps. So that's 6 total. There's a heck of a lot more draftable quarterbacks out there that are seniors now. So we'll go 3-3 at the quarterback position, but every position is a math equation. How many offensive linemen, running backs, wide receivers? And so it's neat putting that puzzle together. But once again, the separator for the Hula Bowl, it truly is our pillars: faith, family, finance, fitness, and football. We know this is a great opportunity for these players, but we're also starting something new with the 5th quarter program. We're letting these players know that even if you do make it to the NFL and you're 22 years old and you get your shot in the NFL, you play 2, 3, 4, 5. What if you played 10 years? Coach Mitchell, I know what 22 plus 10 is. That's 32 years old. You know how young you are? You got the rest of your life to provide for your beautiful wife and your family and your kids. So we started the 5th quarter program that if you accept an invite into the Hula Bowl, we'll be with you for life. You just give us a call if you need help with a job or your wife needs help with a job. We want to be with you for life. So I'm excited to start the 5th quarter program with our owners.
Brad, I want to ask you, you mentioned wanted to delve a little bit into the evaluation process. I believe I read there was 120 total players at the Hula Bowl. Is that correct?
Last year there was 120. This year we're going to go with 110 this year. So 55, those slots will go fast. And it's just beautiful to see everything coming together. One of the pleasures that I get is just going out and scouting and covering the games. Was blessed to go to the Tennessee-Georgia game and Ohio State-Penn State and Toledo-Northern Illinois, Ohio University-Miami. I'll be covering my last game of the year in the Swamp. The Florida Gators are attempt to beat that rival, the Tennessee Volunteers. But we have a national scouting team that nothing goes unnoticed. So if you're good enough, we'll find you. And I believe by faith that what separates us is just the opportunity. I love going first. Of course, we sacrifice those teams that maybe play in the final 12. Last year, Ohio State ended up navigating the 12-team playoff. They got in with 2 losses, and then they ran that gauntlet. But Hula Bowl week, we had Final 4 games, Thursday and Friday night. It'll be the same thing this year.
Coach Stump.
I think it's awesome, Brett. Definitely glad to hear about that and glad to have you on.
Well, I want to celebrate all that you do in media. And Coach, your playing career, your coaching career, I want everybody in the audience to know that obviously we know coaching makes a difference. I was thankful to be one of the last captains for Todd Alice at Dublin High School. One of the greatest running backs we ever had was Vince Workman, who went on to play at Ohio State. And he, from my hometown, hey, there's nobody better than Vince Workman at that running back for the Dublin High School Shamrocks. And then I was blessed to be a walk-on defensive back when my dad got the athletic director job for the Toledo Rockets. Dr. Al Bowl was a former assistant at Ohio State for many years. He grew up in Vermilion, Ohio, so I loved watching the Cleveland Browns every single weekend on TV. But after my dad left Ohio State as an assistant, the Toledo Rockets said yes to being the athletic director. And he had to make a tough decision and let a good man go. But we were thankful as players that he hired Nick Saban to his first ever head coaching job. The Toledo Rockets, 1990, 35 years ago. And gosh darn it, Coach Mitchell, we lost him after 1 year because Bill Belichick got the Cleveland Browns job, and he called Nick to be defensive coordinator. I was like, are you kidding me? We're going to lose him after 1 year. But thankfully, Nick Saban, when he called my dad and said, hey, Al, what are we going to do? Bill Belichick gave me this offer. I want to go coach in the pros. And my dad said, come on, man. I know you signed a 3-year contract, but it's Toledo. It's not Ohio State or Notre Dame or Michigan State or that team in Ann Arbor. It is, he let him go. But please help me out. You got to help me out with a good coach. And he said, Gary Pinkel is your guy. And Gary Pinkel went on to be the all-time winningest coach at Toledo. Then he got hired at Missouri. I believe he became the all-time winningest coach at Missouri. Gary Pinkel did. And then just to wrap a bow on it, my dad got hired by the Fresno State Bulldogs. He hired Pat Hill, and Pat Hill is going to be the O-line coach in the Hula Bowl for John Gruden. And then my dad's last hire, he got the Kansas Jayhawks job. I know they got a big basketball game tonight against Duke, but football is still king. And my dad hired Mark Mangino at Kansas. He went National Coach of the Year. I believe it was the greatest hire my dad had. Nick Saban is the greatest all-time winner. But for a school, Kansas Jayhawks, are you kidding me? I don't think that they'll ever do that again. National Coach of the Year. And that was a special year because coaching makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Well, Brett, I want to thank you. You did mention Chip Trainum. He is actually from Akron, Ohio. We're in northeastern Ohio. We have obviously the NFL Hall of Fame's here. And I believe we have the best football players in the world. Stump will have a different opinion on that, but that's a conversation for another day. But I want to thank you for coming on. I want to say hello to John Gruden. He did give Stump some love on Barstool and talked about the Citadel, the great school, and Stump is an alumni of the Citadel, still in the record books there in the Hall of Fame. So thank you, Coach Gruden. We need to get them two together, Brett.
Hey, we'll get them two together. And as I close out here, thanks for letting me in this precious locker room. Friends, football matters. If you're watching this interview right now, you know how to dial in. Phone a friend, share this podcast. These guys are up and comers. I'm telling you, pros. I love working with pros. Come to thehulabowl.com. hulabowl.com. Bring your friends, bring your brother, come on down. We'll have Stump on a little goal line action. Think you linebackers can stop Stump? No way, baby. Hey, it's an honor to be with you tonight. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon on the road to the Hula Bowl.
Thanks, Brett. We appreciate you. Best of
God
luck.
bless.
Thank you. I can't hear you guys.
That was pretty good, Sapphire. That Hula Bowl is going to be special for those young men that get the opportunity to play in it. If they get an invite, they definitely need to make the most of it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a very exciting time. And as I recall, Coach, isn't Mr. Tinsley a Hula Bowl alumni?
I think so.
Yeah. So it really brought a smile to my face to listen to Mr. Bowl kind of go over his track to where he's at right now, including Vermilion, Ohio. I'm a Northwestern Ohioan, and Vermilion is just one of the best, if you want to color it like a Midwestern town, right on the lake, good people. So it was really nice to hear him give an account of his history, his track to where he is right now. All right. Well, shall we get it started, Coach Stump? A lot to talk about. The Browns versus Ravens game this week. What were your initial thoughts of the game? Right. And then, of course, we're going to jump into Dylan Gabriel being out and subbing in Shador Sanders. So, what were your overall thoughts of the game?
Well, I thought it was just like I said last year. I thought the defense was going to play extremely well. I didn't think the Browns would win, but I thought the defense would play extremely well because Coach Schwartz knows those guys. His defensive players, for the most part, knows those guys. So it was definitely going to be a competitive game. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on to the lead the second half, but it was everything you really thought it would be. At least I thought it would be at halftime.
I'm remembering what Mr. Bowles shared that the football body only has so many hits that it can take. We saw that Dylan Gabriel took a hit by three different players. How much do you think that impacted the decision of, well, how he got concussed? Is there something to be said about that? Is that what contributed to him being pulled from the game?
No, that's a possibility. I mean, the NFL, whether you feel good or not, the NFL, they're going to take a look at every hit that a guy takes, and they're going to send him to the tent if they think need to be done. Some guys get frustrated because they think they're okay,
Mhm.
but they took him to the tent. They saw something, and they thought it was best to take him out of the ball game.
Yeah. Up until that point, he was 7 of 10 for 68 yards. When you watch them or when you look at his stats, what does that indicate to you was working for him, and maybe what wasn't working for him?
Well, he was getting rid of the ball. I mean, he was getting rid of the ball. He understands the success or lack thereof of that offensive line. You know, he's been there. He knows that ball has to come out of his hands. You take a look at the Browns the past 2 years; they've gone with the same offensive lineman, Russ Rowe. Those guys have been injured. That's the first thing that they should have fixed with that team. You know, you did a great thing by bringing Joe, so you don't have to have a quarterback right now. You can win with Joe. You could have won with Joe, but you have to have offensive linemen. That's the bottom line, and they have not refreshed that offensive line. I love those guys, but it's a business. They're great guys. They are great guys. You would love them, but there comes a point in time where their time as a starter is over. But you could keep some of them as backup players, of course, not as at the salary that they're making as a starter. But you should have gone out and got some good guys, allow these guys to be backup guys, some of them, and then you would have been able to win with Joe.
Okay, all right. And so Dylan Gabriel is in concussion protocol right now. From a coaching perspective, talk to us, share your insights on what that looks like internally, how you measure if a player is truly ready to come back into practicing and play the game.
There's a whole lot that goes into it. Some of those guys, I won't call any names, but some of those guys that were in concussion protocol during my time there uh, couldn't really stand to see daylight. They had headaches. Everybody is different. Some of those guys were out 2 to 3 weeks. So it all depends on each individual how they're feeling. And the good thing about it, those guys go to a neutral doctor as well, and they determine if those guys can return to play or return to practice, and they have to go through stuff and make sure they feel comfortable, not nauseated or anything like that before they can actually even begin to lift weights, begin to run, begin to do anything.
So it sounds like there's a structure in place, a check and balance, if you will, to make sure the player is medically cleared to be able to play.
Absolutely, and all for the good of the player.
Okay, okay. Ro, you have any questions?
I had some difficulties there. Just got added back. So I heard you mention Dylan, and it looks like the concussion protocol. I have my number 12 jersey on. However, this is Gordon, not Shador, but you wouldn't know that. But how you
Ditto,
doing?
ditto.
So,
I have mine on too. And by the way, Coach Stump, Joe Hoist says you are his favorite Cardinals running back after Otis Anderson. So we want to thank Joe Hoist for chiming in and giving Coach Stump major props.
I appreciate that. Otis Anderson was a big time player. You know, he and I, if it wasn't for Otis Anderson, first and foremost, I never would have made the Cardinals because at that particular time, there was the running back coach didn't particularly care for me. You know, we're talking about the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
You know, most of those teams wanted to keep the players at every position that they had the year before. Football was totally different. The general managers wasn't looking to get their names in the limelight because they made a transitional move. They was trying to make sure that the guys that they had were special and were doing what they needed to do from year to year, and everything stayed status quo so they could win.
All right, and then so thank you for that, Coach. Let's transition into some of the other play that we saw on Sunday. What were your thoughts about Jerry Judy?
Well, you know, it's tough. He really has not been used like he was last year. You know, the production that he put out last year was just phenomenal. You thought he would have been able to improve upon that, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the player. Okay, it has absolutely everything to do with what Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, uh, have done with that team thus far. And as a player, you have those types of seasons, and you coming back wishing and working and hoping and praying for more, and it doesn't materialize, not because you didn't put the work in during the off season, but because of the moves that have been made around you. You know, it's the same thing with Donovan People Jones. The guy is going into his last year. He had 800 and some yards receiving, and he puts in a hard off season, and now all of a sudden you make a move and you bring in a guy that was a second round draft pick that had less yards than he did during that previous season, and you try to replace him with that guy. I mean, football is a business, but it's also more about the emotional stability of players being able to be successful on the field. And because it's a team sport, everything you need all 10 guys besides yourself to be there mentally. You know, I really feel to this day, if Donovan Peoples Jones was taken care of mentally, Nick Chubb never would have gotten hurt because we put Donovan Peoples Jones in for the most part as the main blocker during the run game. And that's another thing. You're talking about a guy who primarily was a junk ball receiver. Nothing
Mhm.
really was primarily, he was never really the number one receiver, but he has over 800 yards. And now that he experienced that in playing Pittsburgh, now he's not the blocker mentally that he was. And unfortunately, Nick had to avoid a linebacker, and he went right back into Minka.
You know, Coach, it's so curious. That's the perfect segue. You talk about the importance of emotional stability. You know, Shador Sanders was subbed into that game because Dylan Gabriel was injured. He was 4 of 16 for 47 yards, one interception. There's been a lot of rhetoric in the last couple of days about the lack of preparedness, him not getting first team reps. And we're hearing this rhetoric from former players, former coaches. Look, Shador Sanders is, to me, just in terms of pure raw talent, more than qualified to be coached up to be an NFL quarterback. I want to go right to the heart of it. What responsibility do you assign to Kevin Stefanski for not having the Browns' backup quarterback prepared to go into that game?
Well, first of all,
Yes, we had some difficulties there. I'm not sure if we can hear you, Sapphire, but
yeah,
um,
Sapphire is fine.
I
I
will
can.
say, just from my perspective, looking at Shador, there's been a back and forth with that.
Well,
Go ahead, Coach.
yeah, I think when you both of those guys are rookie quarterbacks,
Dealt
first year
with the lack
quarterbacks.
of reps, and then the other side of the coin says there's an we waited for him to get this opportunity. He has to step up. Uh, Sapphire, Stump, can you both hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think the thing about uh, both of those guys being rookies, you're trying to get the starter all the reps that you possibly can. Uh, and
We'll wait for you
the
guys to come
backup
back on.
quarterback has to try to I mean, they're all in the meetings together. There's only so many
We might be having some
reps you
difficulties.
can have. There's only so much playing time or practice time based on the uh, collective bargaining agreement with players. Now, Shador may have gotten some of
Kenny, you
the
want to hear me? Is anyone there?
Yes,
Shador.
Ro, we can hear you. Coach Stump was answering speaking of the situation with Shador Sanders and his preparedness. Go ahead, Coach.
Shador may have gotten some of the reps in walkthrough, but
Okay.
they're all in meetings together. No, it's not the reps that the starter is getting, but with a rookie, you want that guy to be able to get all the reps uh, that are definitely when you're throwing the ball, so that he can have some type of relationship with the receivers. And you know, he had him with a 6 point lead at half. So it wasn't like when Gabriel, people can hate if they want to, but it wasn't like when Gabriel took the field to start the game that he had a lead. The score was 0-0, and they were able to manage to have a lead at halftime. So Shador had to come out and try to protect the lead. He had to try to come out and get field goals, if not touchdowns. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. He came out with the same offensive line that Gabriel was playing with. That offensive line, it is what it is. You got to get rid of the ball. Nothing. I'm not really trying to say anything negative about those guys, but you got to see what you got to see. You got to have evaluations of guys. It's a business. It's not a
Hmm.
sometimes Andrew allow guys to go places or he do this or do that for them. Forget that, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's trying to sacrifice because they love to see the Browns play. Uh, People make total sacrifices to afford a ticket to go to those games. So you got
Absolutely.
are like business. They want to see the Browns win. They're diehard fans. So they did a poor job of managing that team.
Okay, and thank you because I'm also wondering what the difference that you may have seen, or when you looked at the stats, observed with how they used the running game in the second half to help protect that lead.
It's not about really. It's not about those skill guys. People want to make it about those skill guys,
Mm,
but it's not about those guys. It's about that offensive line being able to give the quarterbacks an opportunity to throw the ball and giving the running backs a run lane. They that same line last year. That same line last year Jerome Ford averaged 5.4 yards. But Andrew, Kevin, or whoever, they felt as though he was the problem. He was not the problem. And he's proven that he was not the problem. You know, uh, Jerome last year, Jerome averaged 7.4 carries a game. You didn't hear me. Russ, 7.4 carries a game. That was his average. I mean, but he was still able to have 565 yards with a 5.4 average. But yet they thought he was the problem. Give me a break. Now, Quinshawn, he's averaging 17.4 carries a game. 17.4. Okay. Now his average at this particular point in time is 3.9 yards a carry. But he's not the problem. He's a good player. He's a good football player by no stretch of the imagination. But numbers speaks volumes.
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
Numbers speaks volumes. Jerome was not the problem. And they try to make him be the problem. And Kevin had no backbones to stand up for this guy. He had no backbones to stand up for for Donovan People-Jones. He thought guys were better than Case Keenum, who he had worked with. Come on, give me a break. He those players that they've messed around for the most part, now it's coming back to haunt them. And really, it's going to be a total rebuild. You can't fix that offense in 1 year. You can't do it. You can't fix that football team in 1 year, not from the offense's perspective. I mean, the one thing that everybody do, all those players know for sure, okay, is that Jim Schwartz, whatever he says, they believe. They're going to control what they can control, and that's all they can do. But Jim has the respect of the football team. Okay, not just the defensive players, but he has the respect of the football team. No, I haven't been around him the last couple of years, but it doesn't matter. I know the person he was first when I was there, and I also know the coach. And I know the players had nothing but the utmost respect for him on both sides of the ball.
Right on. So just to close, Coach Stump, Shador is to start versus the Raiders. One of the things you shared is that numbers speak volume. He's got a number of days to prepare with the first team. What are your expectations for this next game against the Raiders?
Shador got to get the ball out of his hand. They have Max Crosby, I think, one of the best pass rushers in the league, and he's going to be going against our guys. Offensively, they better have a scheme to protect Shador against Max and those other guys on the defensive line. There, they feel that they have the advantage over the Browns' offensive line. I can tell you that much. So you only have one football. You change some of what you're doing to make sure he has time to get the ball down the field, and you make sure Jerry Jeudy get an opportunity, because the one thing that Shador does, they say he don't have an arm. He throws a deep ball pretty dang on well. And I think if given time, I think he'll have the opportunity to make some things happen. The good thing about it is that Geno isn't playing great football. You know, Pete Carroll, he knew him, he took him there, but he will throw you the ball. So the defense is going to be pretty dang on good against these guys. The greatest thing about it is that they don't have to worry about no weather. They can just go there and play. And I think the defense will come away with a couple of turnovers. I think it's a perfect opportunity for him. But I think they're going to have to stretch the field. They're going to need to let him stretch the field some and get the ball to the playmakers' hands.
Outstanding, outstanding. We did have a question from Joe Hoist. Again, Coach, can you see his question? There it is. It says,
Yeah,
"May I
he said
ask?"
the ball was dropped at the half yard line after a 60-yard run.
Mhm.
You know, unfortunately, that's been the thing that's happened for the Browns. The receivers have let them down a little bit. They've dropped some balls. You know, that's part of the game. Unfortunately, you don't like it, but it is part of the game.
All right, and then we have a comment by James Frank. Patience with Shador, and we will see the kid do great. Looking for Shador to have a way better game, and he's saying Miles is going to get at least 2 more sacks this week. And it pretty much lines up with what you said. Shador Sanders has a great opportunity, right, Coach?
Yeah, he's got to take advantage of the opportunity. But again, it's going to boil down to the offensive line It's he's going to have to get the ball out of his hands. The passing game, the quick 3-step passing game is going to be something he's got to be good at. But also to take advantage of what he can do, they need to make sure they shore up the protection so he has a chance to get the ball downfield. Because one thing Shedeur does do pretty well is throw the ball. He's got a good loft ball. He's got good timing on those balls for the most part if protection is good.
Yeah, I thought that pass to Fana Jr. was, I forgot I was watching the Cleveland Browns. It looked so good, Coach. Your final thoughts for this edition, Coach?
Well, the Hula Bowl, those guys that are going to get an opportunity to play in that, I think they should definitely take that advantage if they get an invite because, again, it's all seniors. They get an opportunity to show that they can play. And it's especially great for offensive and defensive linemen because everybody's looking for pass rushers and everybody's looking for guys that can stop those guys.
Excellent. Well, I just want to thank everyone for tuning into this edition of Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University, with the great Coach Stump. My pleasure to join you on these Tuesdays. Come on back and see us next week, y'all.
Appreciate it, Sapphire. Have a good night.
You too, sir.